Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Dorothy. I am a professional astrologer. You can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. There you can contact me if you would like your own private sessions. And I'm teaching classes online. You can connect with me there as well. And Facebook, Dorothy Morgan Astrologer. So today what I want to do here is, and this is a new format for me. I've been watching and I've been trying to figure out if I want to do the whole year for each zodiac sign, or if I wanted to continue doing once a month for each zodiac sign. Now that is a huge amount of hours. I can't do it anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 3-month forecast for each zodiac sign. So January, February, March, or basically the winter months, the winter season, and I will work on that for you. And if you want to see the first part of the winter, you go back and you watch the December forecast for your zodiac sign. Okay, so this intro will be in every video, just so you know. Watch the time. If you want to go watch another one, you can skip past this point. All right, thank you for watching, and let me get started. Okay, so let's get started for Virgo. All right, so I want to start with the full moon in the sign of Cancer. It's on January 4th, so sorry, I got to look down at my notes. I've got so many of them. That for you, Virgo, is in your 11th house, and that is the house of friendships and relationships with groups of people. It's a very social place, and when we have a full moon there, especially in the sign of Cancer, that means you have an emotional attachment to groups and these things, you know, relationships, friendships, all right? So you have an emotional attachment to that. It's also the area of our chart which is about our hopes and dreams. So full moon in this area can definitely be important for us, especially to start the new year, so we're able to see, especially through reflection of others around us, what it is that's important to us, because the full moon and the new moons, you know, they hit each sector throughout the whole year, and right now that's the focus for you. We also have 4 planets that are in a Capricorn sign for the first 5 days of January, and that is for you to focus in on. Let me see what house that's in for you. There we go. That's in your 5th house. And with it being in your 5th house, your focus here is on children and stabilizing them. If you have some artistic or creative pursuits, stabilizing those things too. Maybe turning a hobby into something that is a little more of a financial benefit for you. These things can happen a little bit here. On January 5th, Mercury and Venus move into the sign of Aquarius, and this puts them into your 6th house, and that 6th house is all about what the daily routine is like for you. It's work. It's not what your career is, but it's the routine of going to work or preparing for work. It's your co-workers. It's your health routine as well, your daily health routine, getting up, having breakfast, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, that type of thing, taking vitamins, or whatever it is that you do that's part of your daily health routine. This is being focused on starting January 5th when Mercury moves into Aquarius and Venus moves into Aquarius and going into your 6th house. But the thing is, between January 5th and January 21st, Mercury will be slowing down. All right, Venus will be moving through there and just continue on. So for 3 weeks, Venus will be moving forward through Aquarius, through your 6th house, and you're able to see what you value as far as the things I've just mentioned, your routines, your work, things like that. But Mercury, the planet of communication, will be going retrograde on January 21st. So a few days on either side of that, the planet is considered stationary because it's not moving. And so when it is stationary, there is a lack of communication. Same thing will happen on February 11th. I'll get to that in a minute. So it's not even that there's a lack of communication. We just have a hard time communicating during that period. So while Mercury is retrograde, January 21st to February 11th, in the area that is ruled by Mercury, that 6th house is the natural rulership of Mercury, go into this period with a list, a to-do list. I'm telling every sign to do this. Go into this with a to-do list. Have a list and check things off, because you can complete tasks that have not been completed while Mercury is retrograde. It's just good not to necessarily start anything new. If you have to, you have to. I mean, we can't sit here and a third of the year not start new things because Mercury is retrograde. Just take a little extra time and do your homework and be diligent about the details. And it will work out just fine. So I want to move on to the new moon. Now the new moon is on the 20th of January, and with that new moon on the 20th of January, it's the day before Mercury goes retrograde. It's also in that 6th house. Again, you're going to be focusing in on new ways of thinking, what your daily routine can be about, and what you can incorporate into your daily routine that may make life easier. Actually, really, what may make life more easy for you. And that Aquarius new moon energy, especially at 0 degrees, can be all about high tech. It'll be a different choice for everybody. That Aquarius energy isn't always high tech for some people. Some people get a little stuck with that, and they don't go anywhere, and they don't do much of anything when that happens. So next I want to look at what we got going on next is February 3rd. So I'm going to jump ahead to the next new moon. And no, it's a full moon. So February 3rd, we have the full moon in Leo. That is in your solar 12th house. So I'm looking at my notes and my calendar. Can't help not doing it this time around, guys. There's a lot of information here. So when we have the full moon in Leo in your 12th house, what happens here is hidden things will come up. You might find a way that you might discover something about your creativity you never knew, because that's what Leo is all about. What I'm passionate about, creative self-expression, being very private person. Leo in the 12th house. Leo is all about being out there and showing off and allowing yourself to be the center of attention, but when it's in the 12th house, it can be rather shy. So with that energy in there, because that usually means you have Virgo rising. So with that energy in there and the full moon in there, it can bring up and show you things you don't want to see about yourself. If that happens, I just recommend you work with it. It'll be the best thing for you to do, okay? All right, let me scroll a little bit here. We're on the page 2 of notes now. Yay. All right. Just an itinerary, huh? On February 6th, we have the Sun in Aquarius in an opposition to Jupiter in Leo. This is okay energy. I don't mind this at all. This is just the Sun in your 6th house of your everyday routine and your health. And then Jupiter is over in the 12th house. And that are the things that are hidden from you. That 12th house with Jupiter moving through there as a retrograde planet. It is also a very metaphysical place and a very spiritual place. Jupiter used to rule that chart, that part of the chart, before we knew Neptune existed. So Jupiter is pretty much at home in the 12th house. And with it as a transit there for you right now, Virgos, it is a great opportunity for you to expand your knowledge of things that you don't understand or learn about yourself. So you can do dream work, you can do deep meditation, shamanic work, things like that. You're going to find out you might actually have some skills you didn't know that you had. Don't forget that part. We also have on February 6th and 7th, in that time period, Venus and Pluto are making an easy aspect to each other. It's a 60-degree angle, and so any love relationship that is going through a transition right now, this would be very, very helpful. It's easygoing energy. There is some sort of transition going on, whether you're taking a relationship to another step through another commitment, or if the relationship is ending and you're separating. Whatever the transition, one way or the other, neither is good or bad. This is an opportunity for whatever that is, that transition to happen easily. So you can learn the lessons and not build up extra karma or any karma with this relationship. And you're able to be grateful and thankful for what it was or what it will be, depending on your situation. That's why I mentioned it's a really simple little aspect, but I like it a lot because there is just it's just good news, and it's just good news, and it's nice to have some of that here and there. On February 11th, I already mentioned this earlier, but Mercury will be moving direct on February 11th, again in that 6th house of yours, and so stationary around the 11th, so a couple days either side of that. Communication is at a standstill, so what we want to just don't push any communication for those few days around February 11th. If something is flowing, let it flow. All right. We do have a new moon on February 18th, and that's at 29 degrees of Aquarius. That's the final degree of that zodiac sign. That's the 29th degree, is the final degree of every zodiac sign. And when that happens, that just means we're really at an opportunity to complete something. And if we complete something, even though this is a new moon, right? New moons are about setting new goals, new intentions, but it's at the final degree of a sign, which means it's all about, it's the complete culmination of everything that you've learned for the whole month of Aquarius. But it's simply about acknowledging what you know and just letting it go, just letting it be, just saying, yes, okay, I understand. Just allowing whatever is happening right now during that new moon period on February 18th, 29 degrees of Aquarius. Allow that to happen. So everything that we have, you know, that we're doing with this is about letting go. And as soon as we let go, it'll only take a little while for that moon to move into the next zodiac sign, which is into Pisces. And as soon as the moon moves into the sign of Pisces, a few hours later, then we'll be able to become more creative. We'll understand the spiritual ramifications of whatever's been going on. And this is how we can use this final degree of this zodiac sign. We have it coming up in March as well. So keep all of this in mind when you listen to March. We also have the sun entering the sign of Pisces soon after the moon, so that would be the next day. Actually, it's late in the day on the 18th, early on the 19th in some areas of the world. So that means that it's time for us to be flexible, and we're able to see the bigger picture. When the sun moves into Pisces, it's the last mutable sign of winter in the northern hemisphere, summer in the southern hemisphere, which means we're about to shift in 1 month to another season. But right now we're in that changeable, mutable area of Pisces. So use that energy in the best way that you can to become more changeable and flexible and just allow things to flow. That is much better for you. That is in your partnership part of your chart for you, Virgo. And with it being in that part of your chart, that just means it is definitely time to go with the flow when it comes to a partnership, if you have one. If you don't have one, then any of the partnerships that are part of your life. Allow these relationships to flow, whether it's coming in or going out. On the 19th of February, Mars will enter its own sign in the sign of Aries, and that happens in your 8th house. On the 20th of February, Venus follows suit. She enters Aries and moves into the 8th house. On the 22nd of February, Venus and Mars conjunct in Aries in your 8th house. This is the masculine and feminine coming together. The 8th house is about sex and death, taxes, transformation, outside resources. So there is a lot going on in those 4 categories. Just hit rewind if you want to hear those again. These are the things that will be focused on during this Mars and Venus conjunction in the 8th house. And they are making some aspects to other planets. These two guys, this guy and gal, they are making aspects to Saturn later on. I'll get to that in a minute. From the 8th house. So resources, financial resources are important in this time period for you who have Virgo rising or are a Virgo. All right. So on the 23rd, I'm going to move on to February. The mutable energy, the sun in Pisces, makes a square aspect to Saturn, there you go, in Sagittarius. Squares are obstacles and they're challenges. This is mutable energy though, so whatever challenge has showed up for you, work through it. This is not a difficult challenge at all. It's a minor challenge, it's an easy challenge. If you work it now, then you will not have major stress down the road. This can help stabilize something that may be unstable right now in your life as well. I'm not going to get into those details because that's just too much in one forecast. And then I want to talk about here is what I was just mentioning. On the 23rd and 24th of February, Mars and Venus will make a trine aspect to Saturn. And that is really nice because that is, we're learning what our relationships are about. We're learning how to stabilize certain things in our lives. So I'm going to look at where this happens in you. So we have Mars and Venus in the 8th house and Saturn is down in the 4th house. So this is fiery energy as a trine, all right, 120 degrees. 4 signs away from each other. So when these guys come together like this is feeling safe and secure at home. So maybe you've had to refinance your home, or you've paid some taxes off, or you have some taxes to pay. Needless to say, it just makes you, what happens now makes you feel more secure in your home, because Saturn is down there in that fourth house of home and family. I want to end February, and what we have the end of February is the Sun and Neptune are conjunct on the 25th in your 7th house of partnerships and relationships. So if something is foggy in your partnerships, then it may continue to be that way. The Sun may burn off that fogginess of Neptune, but it may not. At the very least, include spirituality, prayer, meditation in your partnerships, because this is ways we can use the Pisces energy and that Neptune energy positively, in a positive fashion. Some people just love music, and you might be a musical couple, and it's just time for you to go to a concert, or go sailing, because water is part of this energy too. So there's a whole bunch of options. I want to move on to March. March 5th, we have the full moon in Virgo. That is in your first house. So we just talked about a whole bunch of things going on in your partnership part of your chart. Now, this full moon in Virgo is in your first house. So what is important is, what do you need? What do you need in a relationship? You really need something on a daily basis, whether it's a phone call, a text, whether it's touching somebody, just staying connected. There's something about this full moon in Virgo on March 5th for you, which is all about staying connected with what you need within a relationship. So you need to know what it is that you need, and you need to be able to vocalize this too. On March 10th, we have a fire trine between Mars and Jupiter, another fire trine, so it goes in the other direction. So we almost have this grand fire trine going on astrologically. No, not quite. Do we? Yes, we do, actually. We have the Aries, the Leo, and the Sagittarius. So we have a grand trine of fire in the end of February, early March. And that's a really nice connection. So it is all about connecting where we're creative, how we're creative, and what we want to do that is creative. But there, again, there's a big spiritual component since Jupiter's in the 12th house. Major spiritual component with this. I like this a lot. Down to the 4th house, which is family oriented and karmic, and that 8th house where Mars is all about transformation. So there's a lot going on here that's really positive and to help us move forward, whether we like it or not. All right. Then we have on March 11th, we have a little bit of a volatile situation with Mars and Uranus making a conjunction in the sign of Aries. And when they do that, there's a lot of transformation going on. It's in your 8th house. So there's a serious amount of transformation happening just because of the 8th house. Mars used to rule that area of the chart before we knew Pluto existed, so Mars is comfortable there. But in Aries, conjunct Uranus and Aries, there is something going on that's all about freedom loving. Give me my space. Allow me to have my space. It's that 8th house again, which is in charge of sex, death, taxes, outside resources that we can use that are not our own, like bank loans, credit cards, things like that, inheritances. There's a lot going on here for you, Virgo. So this will be an interesting month because you have a few things going on in that 8th house of transformation. On the 14th, Saturn will station and go retrograde. Again, that's in your 4th house. Excuse me. It'll be a retrograde for 4 months ish, 4.5 about. And so down there in that area where you feel secure, you're needing to stabilize something in regards to home. Saturn in that part of the chart, you might be feeling some karmic debt is being paid, or you're just going to be doing something that makes you feel safe and secure where you live. We also have, well, I just want to reiterate a little bit, it doesn't mean things stop, it just means things need some adjustments. Saturn's not the big bad guy some people make him out to be. He gives us what we deserve. So if you're required to do extra work at home, then you go do extra work at home. It's A-okay. Venus enters Taurus on March 17th, and that will be in your 9th house. That's academic studies, that's law, religion, it's sports, it's publishing, traveling overseas, foreign people, philosophy, expanding our awareness. That's all this energy of Venus and Taurus. So this is a wonderful place. You might just end up going back to school to learn something that seems fun and exciting to you. or you're going to share something that you know with others. All right, finally, I want to end up with just a little bit here, so please be present for this one. Please pay attention. We have the total solar eclipse on March 20th, and that is at the 29th degree of Pisces. That's the last zodiac's degree. That's the last degree in this, the whole zodiac. That means when it's a new moons are always about, you know, a culmination, not a culmination of energy, but they're all about bringing new energy in, you know, planting new seeds, setting new goals. But when we're at the final degree, like I mentioned earlier with the Aquarius energy, when we're at the final degree, and it's a new moon, and then it's an eclipse, this means that we must come to some sort of acceptance and realization about something. What house is it in for you? It's in your partnership part of your chart. What does that mean? My video just paused. It means I hit the 20-minute point. So what does it mean? This eclipse is potentially in your 7th house of partnerships. It just means that something will come to a realization for you in regards to your partnerships, your love relationships, business partnerships, things like that. We got to let go of something, because this eclipse is early in the morning on the East Coast, and it takes about 12 hours for the sun to move into the sign of Aries. So 6:45 p.m. on the East Coast time, the sun will enter Aries, and at that point we'll be able to set new goals and new opportunities for ourselves. So I have this written down, so I actually want to read this out for you. So we have a chance to go over what our lives have been about over the last year with this final degree of Pisces. And we can gather our thoughts, and then we can manifest something new that matches who we are now. All right? And that's what we need to do with this eclipse at 29 degrees. Who are we now? Take stock in where you've been over the last year. And then as soon as the sun and the moon enter the sign of Aries, which is again on March 20th, that's the spring equinox, that's the beginning of the new astrological year, we'll be able to set some goals as to who we are now because of where we've been. Because how we live in the present is all that matters. Yes, it does. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you for listening. Blessed be. Namaste.